Welcome in to a community game here on Master the Game. I am Tom TP Grant, and I'm going to be your DM for tonight. And we are working with a group of people drawn from both the Master the Game Discord and the Encounter Roleplay Discord. And we are going to be playing adventures out of the new Wildemount book from Wizards of the Coast. I'm very excited to go through this. I've been a fan of Critical Role for years. I've enjoyed the world that Matt's built, and now we get to play in the sandbox that he created, and it's going to be lots of fun. So before we get started, let's go around and meet our cast and start with Lydia.
Hello everyone, I'm Lydia, half-hour's Tarmit on everywhere, really. Mostly on Twitter, mostly on Discord under the Encounter Roleplay Discord, where I'm GMing a game where I'm playing, and now that we all have a little bit more time, if you're working in the tourism industry like myself, I'm here a lot. So yeah. My character, are we doing this as well?
Yeah, go ahead and introduce your character.
My character is Cavellin, who is a drow, female drow. Let's just say ambitious person who's decided that growing up in the dirt is just not for her. So let's just get consecuted, right? Because that's how you do it. You just get out there, you prove your worth, and people will recognize that worth, and then eventually everything will go splendidly. That's at least what she's convinced of. Her wisdom is fairly low. Yeah. But yeah, that's who I am today.
Step 2, prove worth. Step 3, question mark. Step 4, immortality.
Yeah.
All right, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura, Laura G on Discord. I sort of lurk in the Master the Game and Encounter Roleplay Discords. I'm playing on Forgotten Throne, which is another streaming game here on the Master the Game channel. And you could follow me on at Shiny Math Rocks on Instagram. That's shiny_math_rocks, where I am learning to make dice. Tonight, I will be playing Ort, who is a female goblin cleric. She is a cleric of the Luxon. That's about it.
All right, moving on over to Chai.
Hi, I'm Chai. I am at Girly Chai on Twitter. I lurk a lot in the Encounter Roleplay Discord and also the Roll the Roll Discord, where I occasionally guest on some of their streams when they need someone to fill in or I'm bored. So that happens. I at Chai Queen on Discord. I'm going to be playing Zakari, a female hobgoblin blood hunter who wants to be a strong warrior, and it didn't work out so well for her. She got, beat up quite a bit and made fun of. So she left and decided to go learn some blood magic and come back and, prove that she is better than the other people in her tribe that think she can't amount to what she wants to do.
I mean, who doesn't settle differences by going off and learning blood magic? That's a normal thing. I guess happy stable people don't become adventurers, though.
They made her bleed a lot, so she just learned to harness that and use it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Why not, right?
Steven.
Hello. So I'm kind of lurking in a bunch of different places on Discord because I am hungry for tabletop gaming at the moment. You can find me usually over on Mimics and Monstrosities on Sunday evenings, where I play a tiefling alchemist trying to not die horribly in the depths of hell. And tonight I will be playing Grentha, an orc shadow sorceress originating from the Barbed Fields, where she was basically kind of just a product of the negative energies that linger there, birthing things like the Sorrow Sworn. And she didn't feel like she wasn't clicking with the Grumsh centric culture of the orc clans there, so she's trying to kind of find herself.
You know, finding yourself, breaking away from evil death deities. The usual rebellion stage for orcs, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, and finally, Vivi.
Hello, I'm Vivacia or Vivi. This is actually my first time doing anything live on YouTube, so that's interesting. You can find me normally on Twitch, a whole bunch of different TTRPG channels. There, I am Vivacia. On the Twitter, I am Miss Vivacia. And yeah, I am lurking in a whole bunch of Discords. I have way too many of them. And tonight, I'm going to be Pebble, a female Earth Genasi Ranger. And she basically keeps herself to herself. She's a little ponderous. She thinks a lot, and she's just kind of wondering and trying to just find something to do with herself. She hasn't not quite decided what she wants to be when she grows up.
Outstanding. And again, I am Tom. I am a player here on this channel in the Forgotten Throne campaign. I also am playing in Lydia's campaign over on Encounter Roleplay. And I'm hosting these games primarily right now. You see, we have a mix of people who play on a lot of streams, of people who play on a few streams, and people, quite a few people who are self-confessed lurkers on different Discords. And the idea here is we're all in social distancing and self-isolation. We might as well play more games. And so this is going to be a mini campaign, potentially 3 to 4 episodes long, going through one of the starter adventures put into this book to give it a whirl, give people a sense for how they run, and to generally let us have some fun with some different people, since we're all being forced to, lock ourselves in our home for long periods of time. So for those of you who, if you're unfamiliar with the world, we are going to be playing in Xhorhas. We're going to be doing the Xhorhasian adventure, Unwelcome Spirits. For those of you who do know the world, you probably picked up on the fact that everybody was putting out a very Xhorhasian background. To give you a little bit of grounding, Xhorhas is one of 2 major regions in the Wildemount area that is heavily populated. I guess that's not fair. There's the Menagerie Coast also. But Xhorhas is home to what you would consider to be more traditionally the evil races in D&D, though they break free of that a little bit in this particular setting, as the Luxon is a mysterious light deity that the Dark Elves or Drow turn to break free of the hold of Loth, and have then used the power of the Luxon to free other races from the hold of like evil deities and things like that, to let them live their own lives and to escape these kind of like controlling aspects of the evil deities that were defeated. So you get a little bit different of a look. So we are entirely composed of kind of ancestries that you wouldn't normally pick, and we're using a slightly different system on attributes. We're using Gabe James's system that he is working on right now in terms of assigning attribute points by class and not by racial background, for reasons that I think are fairly obvious at this point, but like giving you a little bit more ability to also change up how your characters are working. Now, before we get started into the actual story, we're gonna do like a touch of session 0 sort of thing, because this is a little less we're kind of just having fun on stream a little bit in this one. It's a little less of like a highly produced sort of game. So the first question that we're gonna go around in, and I'm gonna go back around in the order we introduced ourselves in, is answering a simple question of why would your character be heading to the mobile village of Erzin on the border between Xhorhas and its mortal enemy, the Dundalian Empire, who are on the verge of warfare at this point. Like, a war is in a low intensity phase. Lydia, why is your character heading to this place?
Because Kveldin has literally nothing left to lose at this point and everything to gain. So leaving her little hovel and the people that she thought cared about her and she thought were her friends, but then sort of stabbed her in the back by not exactly supporting her grand ideas of fame and glory and consecution, most importantly. She's in a bit of a huff. She's in a bit of a, fine, I'll do it by myself with blackjack and hookers sort of situation. And she's stolen a little bit of armor, sort of hammered a makeshift shield, took a sword from a guard when he wasn't looking, and just is running off into the thicket of it all. And if there's a war brewing, well, that's where you get fame and glory, right? So that's where I'm going.
Excellent. Now, Laura, your character is going to be from the region, correct?
That's right. Ort is a goblin, so she lives in Uzran on this mobile town.
Yes, it is a mobile town. It is ramshackly built on the back of horizon-back turtles.
Yes. So she's not actually going there. She's going with there, and I guess she's with her goblin kinfolk, sharing the light of the Luxon, who is keeping us free from all these evil deities, the betrayer gods, and making sure everybody's happy that we're happy.
All right, outstanding. So, Chai, I know you've been going back and forth a little bit. What are you thinking for, and how do you say her name again?
Zakari.
Zakari, okay.
Yeah. She was probably from around, like, a tribe that was around here with her hobgoblin people, and she left them and spent a little bit of time over, like, just on the other side of the border, like in the Marrow Valley, where she, met up with the cleric orders to learn a bit of, blood hunter fabulousness. And now she's making her way back, taking up jobs and just kind of, trying to, like, prove herself and, come back to her tribe and show them that she's a lot tougher than she was when she left.
Excellent.
So,
All right, and Steve, what about Grentha?
So Grentha's basically just trying to find a new purpose for herself. She was previously kind of being built up to be kind of a weapon against not only the terrible, terrible creatures of the barbed fields, but against the Korean Empire and, anyone else who might have shiny things going through the barbed fields. So her logic is the barbed field is like pretty much just north of Rosona. So her logic is, well, may as well go to the other side of the country, see if that works.
Fair enough. Looking for just as far away as possible.
Exactly.
All right. And Pebble. What is Pebble doing in this region of Zorhas?
Well, Pebbly is a ranger and my Pebbly baby, and she is just roaming. She's not really paying attention where she's going. She kind of by herself, thinking, trying to figure things out, emerged in nature. And I'm not even sure that she is quite aware what's going on and that there's a war coming, because she is just very much focused on just, roaming around. And I'm guessing that she will just head on over and see if she can stock up on some things she can't make herself.
Okay, so you're actually like, we'll probably say that you've been living in the Broken Vale Marsh for like a week or two.
Probably, yeah.
And now are heading in for like a supply run. Okay. So then my next question would be, and I'm going to open the form up a little bit here in terms of having heard everybody's backstories. Who would you say would know each other potentially? And so in terms of that, like who might already have an established relationship or maybe be traveling together?
Oh, is anyone from Rosona or around that area?
Well, I was going to say with Lydia's character being a drow, it might make sense if she had left from Rosona.
I can see that, especially because Rosona is one of the bigger places, which definitely will have slums of sorts, and she's not exactly from a highborn family. And because it will be a town where you have more connection to the Consecution and see them on a regular basis, I'm sure this is what impressed her at some point. So the belief that she could be one of them is a little bit closer and a little bit more manifested. And then when it's not automatically happening when she reaches adulthood, then yeah, why not move,
Okay. So
move
I
away from
kind
that?
of seem kind of converging on the path. And Grentha's kind of hard to miss. She's 7'8". She's a tall girl.
7'8".
It's a
Yeah.
very tall girl.
Very, very tall girl. And I mean, the sunlight's quite bad sometimes. So, you know, when you leave the city with its umbral protection, like, you know, need the shade.
Yeah. Legitimately, probably.
And now it might actually make sense if our two goblin kin knew each other. Maybe, maybe something along the lines of like, or it was somebody that you went to for advice and guidance when you were going through that rough patch before you left.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Or minor healing.
Yeah, I probably, actually, that's probably more likely, because she is not strong, and she got her butt kicked a lot, trying to, like, prove herself to be, because hobgoblins are, you know, it's warfare, and, like, proving yourself as a warrior and working up the ranks is, like, very, you know, strong motivator for them, so that's what she was trying to do, and she just got her butt kicked a lot. So I probably visited the local cleric for healing quite often.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Because while my wisdom would probably be high enough to give good advice, my charisma definitely is too low to be able to like tell that to people. So definitely minor healing for being picked on is probably the way to go there.
I like it.
All right, and then so we have two travelers on their way to. So you guys are heading generally to the border region, right? And it would make probably the most sense for you to encounter Pebbly like once you hit the marsh. Would that make sense?
Probably. Yeah.
We honestly could probably pick up there with if you guys would be okay with just being totally lost in the marsh. And
That makes sense.
yeah. And that could probably be let's have that be our entry point with and I'm gonna have to ask you to pronounce your character's name again, Lydia, because I'm terrible at this.
Cavellan.
With Cavellan and Grentha completely lost in the wood, completely lost in the marsh. So if let's do did we get character, we'll do quick character descriptions as they are introduced. So we are going to step into our game in the midst of the Broken Vale Marsh, a huge expanse of wetland covering two of the main passes through the Ashkeeper Peaks that form the natural boundary between the Dwendalian Empire and the lands of Xhorhas. The marsh itself is a natural barrier. It has slowed many an incursion of Dwendalian forces into Xhorhas over the years. It is militarized on both sides, the Dwendalians keeping forts on their sides of the passes that lead into the marsh, and Xhorhas maintaining Urzin, a mobile village, fortress village, or garrison village, I think is the more accurate term, mobile on the backs of dozens of horizon-back turtles, these tortoises, these massive turtles that goblins have constructed these haphazard constructions on. It is a well-known settlement, if by reputation than nothing else, across Xhorhas. And this is where we find our first two characters knee-deep in mud, slogging their way through a particularly nasty wet patch, looking for higher ground. Grentha, you obviously have a little bit more height. So what do we see of this orc when she is trying to make her way through the mud?
So, as previously mentioned, she is very tall. Not like big, buff orc, as is the stereotype. She's kind of tall and slender, Most of her is covered by these. You wouldn't necessarily consider them like spellcaster robes. There's nothing grand about them. They're actually kind of like ragged looking, something that maybe was patched together at some point by orcish raiders, but it covers most of her, so she has this at least kind of she's gaunt, but the robes kind of fill her out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Beneath that, you see a very dark green skin, very beautiful by maybe not orcish standards. That her tusks aren't up to here. She is fairly beautiful, but in the same way that like Avatar Kyoshi was beautiful. Beautiful, but not. You wouldn't go up and say hi necessarily right away if you were anyone but Kevellin. And she got these piercing yellow eyes that kind of stare out from beneath this hood. Just kind of walking along, kind of trying to use her quarterstaff as a bit of a gauge to see where the deeper muck holes are.
And alongside you, Kevellin, if you'd please introduce yourself.
Kevellin is trying to step into the footsteps that Grentha has made, but they're just being immediately swamped over again, and I think she's already lost one boot because it's not like she had shoelaces. She's also being weighed down by a chain shirt that she's not that used to wearing. It's entirely too long for her. She's using leathers, she's using little fabrics to tie a sash around it and make it look like it's somewhat of an armor set. It's not. It's just one big chain shirt and some leather scraps wrapped around arms and elbows. She's using a rusty longsword to, like the quarterstaff, basically. It's not going well, and she has at this point quite a lot of streaks of mud all over her face when the floppy short hair, white hair that she has when she's trying to brush it out of her head. It's nicely sleeked back at this point. That's the good news, because mud, it's no longer as nicely white, but yeah, well, you take what you can get. He's trying to swat at the various flies and mosquitoes around and cursing and grumbling and just hating life in general.
That was my next thing. I was going to say that the flies in this bog particularly seem to favor you. You get the sense they don't get much exposure to elf quite this far west.
She will bitch about that as well. Why don't they eat you? Why me? Is this magic? Are you using magic? God damn it. No, not in my eye.
Well,
ow.
If I may, having certain cantrips does help, and she'll you kind of use it. You notice her briefly surrounding her hand in electrical energy. She kind of waves it past the clouds of flies.
A little moth, is it a little moth swatcher?
Little
Like those little
bug
teddy.
zapper, yeah.
Yeah,
Zapper.
Amazing.
So little bright flashes as bugs touch your hand.
That is so cool. I am so jealous. So cool though.
Yeah, and she'll kind of turn back a little bit and try to bat away some of the bugs that are bugging her companion.
So it's the bright flashes of shocking grasp intersecting flies that catches the attention of another traveler, not stuck down in this low patch of wetland, but traveling about 40, 50 yards off to the side on higher, drier ground.
Like
Pebbly.
Yeah, so Pebbly probably noticed the flashes and she's like, that's not normal. She's kind of the ponderous person. I would say she's about 6 feet tall, kind of stocky, kind of not yet, like vultures or, any of these pretty things, just pretty stocky, pretty tall. She got mock-colored long hair that she poked up with some branches out of her head with streaks of mud in it. So she's wearing hide armor that looks like she made it herself out of, different kind of animals. And there's like different kind of fur pieces stuck all over the place. Her face is also like a lighter clay color. She's very light brown. She has some gem like green eyes, and sometimes when she turns her faces, you will see like little glittery stuff, like when sand hits the sun and it has a little bit of quartz in it. But you would not normally not notice it, and like she gets full hit in the face with some sun in the right angle. So after like a minute of I would say Pebble would decide that, or how she was called when she still had a family, Pebbly Baby, will decide that she has to see where those lights are coming from, and she just carefully and ponderously just makes her way to check what it was.
So you come to the edge of this low patch where gets quite wet, quite muddy, quite marshy, and you see a towering orc and a drow, which is not a totally uncommon sight in these parts, but they're not as common as in other parts of Xhorhas in this march. And they are muddling their way through this, struggling mightily with this large expanse of wetland.
Yeah, she'll probably stand there for a second and be like, why are they doing this? This is so much hotter than it needs to be. And if they have not noticed her, they would probably see her like kind of looking on her left shoulder, kind of be like, why are they doing this? I don't really.
I think I lost the other shoe. Hold on, I need to go back.
Hey, travelers. Why are you trying to drown in the mud instead of coming up here, where it's easier to walk?
Kellen will pull his sword out of the mud and try and look where the voice was coming from.
It was not an intentional endeavor. Would you mind showing yourself?
Well, and then she will stand up, and you probably see a whole lot of brown.
Thank you. I will confess, I'm not acquainted with the environment of the swamp. I'm more used to broad plains. Wasn't aware there was a path through here that was more easily traversed.
I see. Well, I might be able to assist. You and your friend seem to be quite miserable. Nobody should be miserable in this beautiful landscape.
Are you trying to rob us?
Do I look like I take stuff from people? Do I have any shiny on me? Wouldn't you think that if I wanted to rob you, I would have already jumped you, since you cannot really move very fast right now? You do see I have a longbow. Mm-hmm. So when Cavell looks up, there's a longbow and two short swords. And she's pretty tall. So if she would have wanted to, she could have picked you off without even showing herself.
It's true.
Yeah, Cavell is still thinking about the argument and still like you can see the gears grinding in her head. Can't find a counter argument to that.
Yeah, Pavel just takes a deep breath. Would you like to come out of the deeper parts up here? Maybe you won't get eaten as much.
You happen to find a boot somewhere?
I can probably help you find that, yes.
And lost both, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't think a marsh would be so marshy.
Well, you sure you want them back? I mean, that is a beautiful feeling of, muckety muck on your feet. Makes you appreciate this landscape.
Something was moving underneath my foot a second ago, but I don't want to think about it too much. Where's that path you mentioned? And she's trying to clamber towards the still nameless voice.
Yeah, and it's like in Pebble will just move over a little and say, move over, a little bit towards your friend, and then 2 steps further. There should be an easier way to come up here.
Thank you. And she'll do just that.
Yeah, and Greta will kind of use her core staff for leverage, kind of get herself up onto drier land.
So you guys make your way out of the mud. Kevellin, no more shoes.
Let me stop you right there for a minute.
And you now are all standing atop a fairly dry patch of land. It's still a little muddy, but you're not sinking in it. It's pretty firm under your feet, and this is the best it's been in an hour or two for our 2 travelers.
Kevin will sort of try and wipe the mud of everything, and sword in particular as well. You can clearly tell that she's not too experienced with wielding that sword. Yeah. She's trying
All
to
right, let's
be as presentable.
hold up. I just got a message saying Juce is saying it looks like we might have froze on YouTube. No, it looks
running?
like we're doing fine. I'm still seeing us go fine. Okay, never mind. Please continue.
So I think Pebble will kind of point up a drier spot. If you would like to have a rest for a second, I'll see if I can retrieve your shoes. And she kindly walks off, like, all of this muck does not bother her at all. Because, well, she's an Earth Kenazi, it doesn't bother her. And, she goes and follows your tracks and finds your shoes while you guys take a little break on the dry.
Yeah.
That is
You
a
see
really
Quentin-
friendly...
Sorry.
It's a really friendly person.
Indeed.
Yeah. Bzz.
Thanks.
She's kind of like using Mage Hand to kind of get all the mud off of her robes. She's kind of mutters to herself,
This is what I get for not bothering to learn prestidigitation.
That
Can
is
you-
the clean self spell.
Can you just learn magic, by the way?
Kind of. It's complicated.
Everyone tells me that.
It's... My brand comes from within, something I've had since as long as I can remember.
That's convenient.
Not as convenient as you might think.
Why?
Well, when you have power, there are others who wish to have you use that power for their own ends. And that can get rather nasty.
So, like, when you find the knife and someone else tells you to use it to rob the liquor store with it. Because you have the knife.
A blunt but fairly accurate analogy, yes.
Alright, I get that. But, knife, everyone can have a knife. Like, not everyone can brrr.
This is true.
I prefer the brrr. I'm trying, but...
It is convenient.
That's not the official magic noise, by the way.
No, that's canon now. That's official.
I can never
Pebble, you
play
have
a
found
caster
you
again.
found one of the shoes. The other one, it's not happening.
All right, so Pebble will return and just drop the shoe next to Pebble and be like, "That's all I found. I am sorry.
Thanks.
My name is Pebble."
Hi, Pebble. I'm Kevellin.
Grintha of the Barbed Fields at your service.
She's from the Barbed Fields. She keeps saying that.
So, is there anything that you guys need to know about this area?
How to get out of it, please.
We are seemingly in search of the same area. There's a town in these parts, Urzen, I believe the name is, set atop the backs of giant reptiles. We're in search of it.
Oh, the walking town. Yes. I am going there for supplies.
Oh.
You could follow, or you could stay.
Nope. Follow. I'm fine with following.
Indeed, we would prefer to follow.
Yes, and I would love to show you the lovely sights. This is such a beautiful area. I think everybody should come and enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, there was the old broken tree, and then there was the other broken tree, and then there was the not quite so broken tree. I quite enjoyed those.
Oh, you found the yellow frog tree. That is a beautiful tree.
It was a bit yellow, yes.
That was also your clue to make yourself up to higher ground before you end up in the pit.
Yeah, well, I missed that clue, but now I know. Thank you.
That's all right. That is all right. All right. Would you like to rest, or would you like to continue to the village? And then you kind of see her just like, yeah, they're coming. Yeah. Would you be ready?
I think
Sure.
we're eager to get out of these parts and onto dry-ish land.
All right. And she just turns around and she starts walking.
So Pebble, as you turn and start taking your bearings, your like innate survival here is enough to see the fact that the low portion that they were stuck in, this large swath of low beat down mud, appears to be not a super fresh trail, but does appear to be the tracks of several dozen horizon-back turtles having beat that area down. And it looks as if Erzin has passed through here potentially a week or two ago. And you can tell that generally speaking, it was headed north. So you lead them along the high ground path alongside the track of the trail of the village. And several hours later, as the sun's starting to dip down into the sky, you find yourself coming across the villain of Erzin. And it is dozens of these gargantuan turtles, and they've settled in. It appears they've been stationary for a couple of days, and they are sunk down in the muds, their heads just barely poking above the surface. But on the back of them are just all of these ramshackle little wooden buildings with goblin figures moving about them. Very, very tenuous looking wooden bridges or rope bridges strung between them. Some of them being like full on wooden planks, Temple of Doom style wood bridges or rope bridges. Some of them being as simple as two ropes stretched across. And you see a goblin holding onto one and shuffling along. The entire thing looks amazingly haphazard, but also vibrant and teeming with life. And as you guys come near the nearest turtle, you see a goblin standing on the side, just like sees you and starts like waving frantically and tosses a rope ladder over the side and goes, visitors, hello, welcome to Erzin.
I wave back and immediately clamber up.
Hail and well met. I think that's how you say it, right?
Welcome. It's so fortunate that you're here. The big boss, we're looking for outsiders, new people. And then he notices, has Pebble ever been to this village before?
She might have. I'm guessing because they are moving, that she might have encountered them before, but it might have been a while.
Yeah. So maybe he looks over and he goes, "Oh, the marsh one, the one who lives in the marsh. Yes, good. We could use your help. Quick, come this way. And he waves you up, and we're going to cut over to the Temple of Luxon in this town, which is, temple's a really generous word. It's more like a shack / haphazard shrine of the Luxon, made with different pieces of wood and tin and things that have just thrown together around the rough approximation of a beacon of Luxon. thrown together again with different pieces of garbage and junk found in the marsh and around the town. And this is where we find Ort tending to tending to the shrine with a hobgoblin in tow, walking about with just a line of like different cuts across, like different small scars all across the body. And Ort, you're getting ready to close up for the night. The day's services are done, and you're just trying to shoo this last one person out the door.
Yes. So Ort has she's still walking around in armor that looks, honestly, it's kind of nice for goblin armor. It's not necessarily patched together, but it is definitely rusty old scale mail. But it's actually scale mail and not like spoons that are taped together to look like scale mail. So it's high-end armor for this area. And she's like, yes, so none of those wounds look fresh. I'm hungry. Is it dinner time? Are you still here for healing?
And
Zakari be like, yeah, no, these ones, you've dealt with these ones before, but, and then she'll just kind of like pull back a little bit, like on her leather, and she's got like a fresh cut, like right on like the inside of like her forearm. I'm like, it's just this one.
And so Ort will look at it and go, it's not enough for magic. And so she spits on it and like rubs it a little. It'll be fine.
Fair enough. I've had worse.
So you go away now and I have dinner?
Dinner sounds good.
Excellent.
So you're like herding her towards the door. And as you open the door, you see a goblin that you know, Ort. His name is Krek. He is a known he is the quartermaster of the ogre lord of the town, proudly leading 3 new humanoids down the street, if you want to call it that. One of them an absolutely towering orc in robes, just kind of like proudly leading them down, and stops and says, Ort, look, newcomers.
This means I'm not getting dinner, doesn't it?
I'm taking them to see Buffal. He said he has a job.
Okay.
And he looks over and like, hey, I know you.
Yep, I'm back. And Zakari she's pretty decently tall. She's like 5'9". She's not like strong, but you know, hobgoblins are just, you know, built a little bulkier. And she's got like reddish orange skin and like dark brown hair, and like the top of it is like wrapped around like a bone that goes across, and then it hangs down into like a ponytail. And she's got some like studded leather armor and a crossbow like hanging from her belt on one side and like a rapier on the other. Lots of various scars in various places, but
he looks you up and down and says, you look like you could handle yourself. Come on. I was told to find some people. The Lord Buffal's very upset and wants a job done. And he told me to find people, and I did. So come on, you're found. Let's go.
Buffal pays decent money.
Job?
Yeah, go.
Ort, you're in.
Aw, man. And I turn around and go back into the temple and grab my stuff, which is like a miniature version of the what is clearly a homemade DIY Luxin that looks like someone hot glued pieces of glass together to make a tiny little dodecahedron. And a board that is a shield And so she grabs her actual stuff and goes with them.
Even in character lore, you're making D20s.
I am. I'm just DIY all over the place.
So, Krek kind of leans into you and says, "Or he's Balbora's gone missing. He's upset."
Oh.
And you know, Balbora is an advisor of the leader of this town, Lord Bofal II, and he is an ogre who currently rules in the stead of Sunbreaker Ulamon, who is the Kryn dynasty appointed leader of this, but can't be everywhere at once. So Bufal's like the proxy leader for this settlement. And he takes advice from a goblin witch named Bulbara, who will occasionally journey out into the marsh for a day or two, but knows the marshes very well and always has come back. So news that she is missing is highly unusual and destabilizing for this town.
Oh, are we sure she's missing? She could just be late. She could just be out.
She's never late. It's been days.
Oh, there could have been something cool. She could have stayed out.
She knew that she would be needed for this week. We're going to move soon, and she needs to be back.
Okay.
So it's like we need someone we can trust on this job, and the rest of them are weird.
And she looks around at everybody. Yeah, I get that. Okay, I'll go.
So you are led across one of the more stable looking rope bridges and towards a particularly large turtle with a particularly tall timber shack built on it. And it doesn't have doors. It has heavy leather curtains thrown. And when you move through there, you are immediately hit with the smell of roasting meat and spiced wine. And there is a passably well-dressed orc attendant waiting for you who goes, Krek, welcome back. Is this the group you've assembled? And he goes, yeah, I want to see Lord Bufal. And he says, he is just sitting down for dinner. Please. And he waves all of you in. He's like, I don't need to know your names to announce you. You probably won't be staying long.
Oh, good, dinner.
And he says, Ort, it's a pleasure to see you.
Dinner.
And he turns and leads you into a hall with a fairly long table on it. Sitting at it is a very large, very well-muscled, still with generous portions of girth to him, ogre, sitting there ripping at a piece of cooked meat. He looks at you, and you all pick up on just a glint of intelligence in his eyes. He appears to be smarter than the average bear/ogre. And he looks across all of you and goes, Krek. I keep saying Kirk.
It's Kirk now. It's fine.
It's Kirk now. Says, you found me quite an interesting group. Please, all of you, sit, eat, Ort. And he just slides you a piece of food.
I'm already eating.
I am Lord Bufal II, appointed ruler of this town. Who might all of you be?
I'm Ort.
I know who you are, Ort. He looks up at for something that he's not used to. Looks up at an orc. You're a bit of a tall one.
I am Grantha of the Barbed Fields.
It's a pleasure to meet you. What brings you so far from the Barbed Fields?
A pointed disagreement with the methods of my former clan.
Fair enough. And he looks over.
Sakari, I'm from here.
I was going to say,
I know who you are.
Yeah. Well, welcome back?
Yep. Pretty much.
And one of the Kryn. What brings you out this far?
Kvelin has just stumbled in because she was lagging behind because everything was so cool and new and just well met. What's his name? What's his name? No, she's doing that in character.
Got it.
What's his name? And she's sort of slapping.
The orc attendant's just gonna lean in and be like, Buffal.
Before. Well met, Lord Buffal. I am Kvelin, and I am a mighty fighter who is looking for fame and glory. There's fame and glory, right?
He gives a big like guffaw. Ha ha! You'll fit right in here. And he just like slides you in a tankard of ale.
Ooh, and she goes for it immediately because there's only so many berries you can pick in the marsh, especially when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And he looks over finally at Pebble and says, "You are known to me. Genasi, you have been here before. Are you offering to help me?"
And Pebble is kind of distracted because she looks at the beautiful mud prints that Kvelin left when she came in. You know, one boot, one socked foot. And she's like,
no socks, just a foot.
I will have to know what the reason behind this is. But there are people that need help. I don't believe in people being taken advantage of.
Excellent. And he kind of leans forward and a lot of like the boisterous nature drops. And you guys are seeing now the little bit more of the leader side of him, or like the meticulous, thoughtful side of him as much as ogres get. And he says, my advisor / arcane assistant, goblin witch named Balbora, has gone missing. She treks out into the marsh on a fairly regular basis, but she always returns. And she is needed. Badly needed for this town's survival. Now, most of you probably know that we are the first line of defense between the Dwendalian Empire and the Kryn dynasty. And Kryn soldiers have been, or not, sorry, Kryn soldiers, Dwendalian soldiers have been seen in the area. We have been dealing with a few of them. They have been prodding the defenses in the marshes, looking for paths through, and we've been interdicting them whenever possible.
Yeah, I spotted a few and dealt with them on my way back.
Excellent. Very good. We have trolls attacking our tortoises. They attempted to make off with one a few weeks ago, and we have been hunting down their particular pack. They seem to be having some sort of leadership beyond the normal amount that you would expect from a band of trolls. So we are left in a rather compromised position at the moment.
They tried to hurt the slow and wise ones.
Yes, they did.
Not.
Yeah, this would be a highly unusual behavior for them.
Yeah.
We are determining what exactly is happening with them, but that is where the bulk of my forces are at the moment. We judge that a greater threat than Dwendalians stumbling around lost in the marsh at the moment. But with the disappearance of Balbora, I am now deeply concerned that she may have run across them. So I am proposing that I will pay all of you to head west through the swamp to the first Dwendalian outpost in the swamp and determine if Balbora has been captured. If you encounter her on your way, living or dead, return to me and inform me of that. Otherwise, make your way to Fort Venture and see if you can determine if the Dwendalians have taken her. Once that determination is made, return back with your news and I will decide what to do next. And if that involves paying you more money to do more things, or if you want to go on your way at that point, you can continue on with whatever it was you were doing.
How much money?
I will pay 200 gold.
Per person.
Each, of course.
Well, we'll
Supplies included.
Supplies, of course, will be included. You will receive naught but our finest supplies. Crack will see to that, and you just see like the little goblin go, yeah!
I can
Well-
really use shoes.
We will make sure that, Ord agrees with you.
Yeah.
She will know if he doesn't give us the best.
Oh yes, total best.
Yes, we do have shoes, by the way. We'll have
Very,
to
very important for her.
size them up a little bit. It might take a little bit.
Just need a list one, really.
Until then, though, it is late. You may stay here for tonight. I have guest rooms. And then tomorrow, Crack will bring out our finest supplies. You may pick what you wish, and you may set out into the marsh.
Sounds like a fair job.
I would offer you a guide, but I doubt you'll find better than Pebble here.
Right. Point of clarification: is this a marsh or a swamp?
It is a marsh.
All right, because I know the difference is that swamps have woody plants and marshes don't. So it's less swamp witch and more like soggy with lots of high grass. Just from my theater of mind.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
Less half dead trees and more lots of reeds and.
Looking at the map, it looks like it goes between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It transitions. So,
It's more about the pH value, but that's going a bit far.
I am not that fancy. I'm a ranger.
We don't make me talk about peat marshes in Scotland because tour guide stuff. 2 weeks
Yeah.
no.
Well, what's the
And-
pH?
and
Is it a
ferns
bog or
and
a
all of
fen?
that.
No. Keep going, Tom. Take over.
So with that, you are all served a wonderful meal, and he excuses himself at some point to go deal with another matter, but you are all left at the table if you want to talk real quick or head to your rooms. What do you want to do with what is left of this particular evening?
Eat lots of potatoes.
Or just going to eat. Eats lots and lots and lots. And drink a little. And by a little, I mean a lot for someone who's about 3 feet tall.
So you have an entire pint.
Or 2.
Grantha will probably be chowing down on the rarest piece of meat she can find. I mean, like
You are an orc, yeah.
It's all a little overcooked though.
She likes it. She likes it nice and red.
So let's hold on for a second. Oh, the audio is still working? Juice, are we still good audio wise? Oh, okay. Audio is fine. Okay. Yeah. The internet right now is so much fun with all the services going nuts right now. But
Yeah.
well, this game's for us first and foremost. So is anyone else looking to do anything tonight, or do you want to go just kind of like go to sleep for the night?
Well, Pebble is going to get closer to the fire, and she's going to start cleaning her hide armor, and every now and again she'll mumble like she's having a conversation with somebody, and she'll probably try and get herself washed up before she goes to bed. And she enjoys all the food. It's like you don't really think you see her eating, but her plate keeps coming up empty, and more food appears. So you don't really see her eating, but the food goes away.
I think Kvelin will try and sidle up to Zakari because Zakari looks like she's seen some battle. And she's not doing it subtly, but she thinks she's doing it subtly. So we've got that sort of Rapunzel situation with the... And it's like, hi.
Hi. What was your name again?
I'm Kvelin. I thought that we should get to know each other from one capable fighter to the other.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Those are some really cool scars.
They
Where did you
hurt.
get that one? That in the face, under the left eye.
This one? That was my cousin. I tried to take the last biscuit and they wanted the biscuit,
Right.
and they threw a dagger at my face because that's what you do apparently.
That seems extreme for a biscuit. Was it a really good biscuit?
It was a really good biscuit.
Did you get the
It
biscuit?
I did.
Good.
It was a little bloody while I was eating it, but still made sure he didn't get it. So, you know.
Yeah. You know, the blood was a bad thing, right? You don't eat blood on a regular basis.
I don't eat it typically. No.
Cool.
But,
Cool.
you know, I'm used to being around blood. Like, it's no big deal. Like, it doesn't bother me at all.
Like a lot of it?
Yeah.
How many people have you
sometimes.
killed?
Sometimes, but sometimes it's my own,
What?
you know?
Blood? Oh, yeah. How many people have you killed? Like a lot?
More than a few.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, me too.
And she's just gonna, like, Zakari can, like, realize that what's going on here, and she's just gonna be like, you know, like, it's okay. Like, I was not always a good fighter. A lot of these scars were from bigger, stronger people picking on me. And then I learned how to fight back and get stronger in other ways.
Yeah,
You can
that's how
You'll
you
get
do
there.
it. I was about to give you the same advice. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Ale?
Ale. And we'll
And
just like
she runs off, gets and does the sort of, that was not the coolest introduction ever, but beer helps to make people forget that.
beer always helps. And
The
just like
two
a
awkward
big
sort
clink.
of fighters make a connection over ale.
Level 1 character.
Is anyone else looking to do anything or before going to bed? No.
Nope.
All right, then you guys head off to sleep for the night. Morning comes and most of you are awoken by the fact that the sunlight just comes right through a lot of the walls that you're in, because they're just like crisscross pieces of wood kind of like sort of put together. So the sun comes through in little rivulets of sunlight. Although no, because we're in Zorhas, so there isn't sunlight. It's perpetual night. Never mind.
Dusty, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, and you guys are all used to this. So you're all on like pretty similar, where it's just slightly less dark as opposed to utter darkness. And
It's Scotland.
or the Midwest during winter, one of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It snowed today.
It did.
Yeah.
Don't remind me.
I know. Wow.
70 degrees and sunny.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck off, Germany.
It's not really Germany. I'm the German in Virginia, but
Okay.
Oh, still.
Yeah, you're
East Coast.
you're down south, so you're getting actual spring as opposed to whatever
Yeah.
we're doing.
With all the pollen.
That's next for us. Pollen apocalypse is coming up in like a week or two. So as you guys gather, you are led to the quartermaster's chambers, where Krek proudly shows you all of his best wares. And they're something. They are cobbled together. Many of them patchwork. The boots he presents to you appear to be roughly woven together in terms of the sense they took like some smaller pairs of boots and like kind of ripped them open a little bit and then patched them to try to make them more your size based on the one boot that you had. They have some spears laid out for you, which some of them are quite literally sticks with, where they just tied haphazardly with some twine, a sharpened rock on the end. It is, and correct.
But see, they brought out the ones with rocks. These are the good spears. Not those crappy sharpened sticks in the back. These have rocks on them.
If you want some of those. And he seems inordinately proud of all of this.
So Pebble will walk around and she's gonna look for some tarp, because her tarp that she makes her little tent or her little lean-on shelter out of, just basically rotted away after a while. So she's trying to find one of those tarps so she doesn't have to sleep out in the open in her bedroll anymore.
You find one that appears to be patched together from 3 kind of falling apart tarps that they just kind of trimmed up and then patched together the best parts. It's about 4 different colors across the whole thing, but it's serviceable.
That might be good to hide in anyways.
Kvelin, you get a new set of shoes. They honestly, when you put them on, they're actually kind of comfortable.
Hey, this shit is as high end as Kvelin has seen. So for her, this is glorious. Like, this is all for free. Like, we can just get that.
It's like pre-broken in.
Wow. And she's trying to exchange her half battered shield that is, I'm not sure there's like bins, like trash can lids in Wildemount, but that level of haphazard for a proper shield.
Well, they have a few planks of wood bound together with something
where I got my shield. Yes.
That'll work. Yeah, because
yes.
And she pokes a finger through one of the shield parts, which is metal but so rusted and not round and just not much left of it. It's more like a buckler. It's like, yeah, I think I'll switch for one of those as well. Yeah. Anything to get the rust of the sword.
And like they kind of look around for a little bit, and they turn up a fairly decent looking like few supplies, including like a whetstone and a few other things to like scrape off, like to polish your sword and things like that. Couple like some oil, some rags, things like that, to maintain weapons. But it's, of the rags are a little moldering.
It's fine,
but they'll do the job.
Grintha kind of goes, I am thankfully not so dependent on gear. I have most of what I need. She holds up the hand that isn't kind of clutching her quarterstaff, and there's this beautiful like silver chain that kind of wraps around her finger, dangles to her palm, where a very deep purple crystal rests before kind of continuing on around her wrist. Definitely doesn't look like something an orc would have made.
Mm-hmm.
However, rations may be required, I think.
Oh, we can do that. And they actually have a fairly large spread of like mushroom-based meals and things like that, and some meat of non-distinct origin that they have laid out that has been dried and like preserved to some degree that you'll be able to take. Also, you are able to find, if you're a spell component user, any non-price spell components. And if any of your spells require, I know it's level 1, so probably not. If they require a cost part, we can talk about if they have it. So
yeah, the crystal is her focus.
Okay. So
how many days do we know how long it will take us to get to this fort and back to make sure we have enough rations?
Yes, it's probably going to take about 4 days of travel to get there, give or take.
And then probably back. Okay, so I'm going to grab a few more rations.
Yeah, you probably want like 10 days rations total. So, and the Crack's gonna go up to the tall, imposing-looking hobgoblin and be like, "You want anything?" And it like holds up, "You want a dagger?" And like it's like it looks like a dagger blade broke off of a dagger, and they've taped it to like a wooden handle.
Daggers are always nice, but I think you should keep this one.
You think?
You never know when you might need one.
That's true. We never know. Those trolls might come back.
This is true.
Yeah.
She's going to need pieces of cloth to wrap around her leg.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we got that. Like
you're probably right there. Or
So they bring you out like a few things like, yeah, we got some cloth that's left over from the last troll attack, and they like bring out and you see like it looks like they took a shirt and like just ripped it up, and there's one that still has like a bloody rent in it, and they go, oh no, not that one. Here, the rest of them though, they're fine.
Yeah, these will work very well for what I need them for.
Uh-huh.
So with that, Krek leads you guys back across the maze of rope bridges and like ladders, and at one point you guys actually have to like swing across a gap on a rope, and you are led down to where the rope ladder is, and you are brought down into the bog with the intention of heading west to Fort Venture, which to be about 4 days west and slightly south. And you are now getting ready to head out into the Broken Vale Marsh. So, you guys are beginning your journey. For those of you for anyone who's watching this on later or things like that, we're foregoing the hex crawl portion of this if you have the book, because that doesn't really play so well online, especially when we're not using overlays and stuff, or we're using overlays. We're not using a virtual tabletop. So we're going to jump to you guys moving through the marsh. First of all, generally, who would you be walking with initially for the first couple moments of this, or where would you be walking? I'm assuming, first of all, that Pebble's probably taking the lead in this venture, correct?
Yes, because the swamp is her natural territory, so we will not be able to get lost, and it won't slow us down after we travel for at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she would definitely be in the front and kind of looking out and maybe scouting ahead a little and just like kind of grunting and letting them know where to step, and sometimes pulling Cavellin off of stuff that she would lose her shoes in again.
I think Zakari is probably towards the back, keeping.
And she probably asked Granthon not to zap the bugs because people would know where we are.
Ah, my bad.
We probably don't want to be seen if we come upon something that does not like us.
Fair point.
And you said you were taking up rear guard duties?
Yeah. Anyway, just, I've been wandering through here for a while, so just keeping an eye so nothing sneaks up behind us.
I think Grantha will probably be back by Zakari, since she is something of an obvious target. So she's going to be kind of back, so she's not the one crashing into branches and stuff up front.
Or it would probably be fairly in the middle of the group, but also wandering off frequently if it looked like there was something shiny on the ground that she could use to incorporate into further holy symbols or little bits of the temple later, and just like wandering off to pick things up off the ground.
Cavellin will probably be a little bit annoying for Pibble, because so how do you know that this was going to be unstable? How did you know that can I eat these berries? No? Oh, fine. What's that bird up there? Just trying to learn, being slightly obnoxious about it.
Yeah, and Cavellin is probably going to hear a lot of and a lot of explanations that make very much sense to Pebble, but maybe not to her, because it doesn't give all the information. Because Pebble, that's all completely, normal. Oh, that bird. Yeah. Amazing bird.
Yeah. But what's it called? With the red feathers?
Bird. It's a bird.
Oh, okay.
It's not good to eat.
I wasn't gonna. It might be a friend of yours.
You try to eat the berries. The poisonous berries, so do not eat that bird either.
Is it poisonous?
No, but it doesn't taste good.
Okay.
Might eat you.
It's tiny-ish. I think
would eat you if you did. Would eat you if you did. Yeah, or sleeping.
Not gonna die. Soonish.
No,
I think.
I hear. No die.
Probably sort of jump a little and look around that Orth has been listening in. Oh, okay, thanks. That's helpful.
Yeah, please make sure.
Appreciated.
She already lost shoes. She don't want her to lose limbs. I would not like to look for those.
Yeah, I can keep someone from dying twice a day.
Really? Like, do you know magic and stuff?
Yeah. And this is the moment when Pebbles starts walking faster.
And she holds up her little shiny orb. Yeah, Luxon.
Oh my god, it's Luxon! And the voice is going really high because Luxon is like the thing for her as well, but she has no idea how it works. Did you make that?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Nobody else knows how to make those in Urzen. I made.
Is that what's that? What's that material?
Glass.
And I'm thinking as you say that, Kevellin was touching it and would probably cut herself doing so. Ow. Oh. I think it's glass, isn't it? Yeah, it's glass.
From a couple of broken health potions and some flasks and stuff.
Cool. No touch the berries, no touch the bird, no touch the glass. I got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And she grabs your hand. Not worth magic, and she spits on it and rubs it a little. You'll be fine.
Thanks.
Or it's pretty good at things like that.
I think Kevellin will sort of it will be handed from one person to the next. Like, now you take care of the idiot.
So after a few hours of travel, you guys have made your way a couple of miles outside the town at this point. You're getting now into the Broken Vale a bit. And Pebbles out front, you spy a shaded thicket of weathered mangrove trees. Inside this thicket, you can see the prow of a wooden craft sticking out. And you can see a hand, lifeless and pale, hanging off the side of this prow.
Big hand or small hand?
Approximately human-sized.
Mm-hmm. So she goes, that person, maybe a boat over in the mangroves. You might want to approach with caution.
Are boats normal here? I mean, we're walking.
Well, they're not really boats. They're more like rafts.
Oh.
I would say the flat ones that you can kind of...
Yeah, skiffs.
Good word. Big word. Amazing word. That's why we got you.
And Ort looks at Kevlin and is like, should we get a raft?
Kevellin,
yeah. Should we get a raft?
I don't know how to drive one. Is it
No,
driving a raft?
I mean, like, you get stuck in the mud. Do you need a raft?
Do you want to steal the dead person's raft?
Well, they're not using it.
Can we please stop the chatter? Maybe what killed the person is still here?
Would
Sword.
one of us be able to kind of look around and see if there's any rustling in the bushes?
Yeah,
go
can
ahead.
I see any tracks or anything?
So why don't you guys pick somebody to make a perception check?
What?
I'm going to give him guidance.
Would it be perception or would it be like nature?
So what are you attempting to do, I guess is the question.
I'm trying to see what part of nature has been disturbed and if I can see who passed or how many passed. Like, can I see how many people or things were here? Did they leave? Like, did they leave tracks?
I would say would be a survival check. So
Survival.
And you've been given guidance, so go ahead and roll a d4 with that.
Right, so a 20 and a 4. So I'm not used to this no more. Where's roll 20? All right, so that is a 3 and a 14.
A 14?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and a 3.
Plus 3.
Okay.
So it's added, yeah.
Okay. So you kind of make a respectful circle, like half circle of this area, giving it a lot of space so that you don't disturb what's going on there. And it looks as if this raft, you still can't get a good look at this craft. Judging by the wildlife around it, it appears that this was long enough ago that if it did significantly disturb the wildlife, that it has recovered by then. So you would guess it's been there at the short end like a week.
Completely didn't even add my bonus to it. That would have been 20 in total, but doesn't
No,
matter.
20.
So because
Then you
survival
feel very
plus 3.
confidently. Feel very confidently. This has been there about a week and a half, based on the hand that you saw. Also, stuff has gotten after the body a little bit from what you can see, but it's not completely gone, which means it hasn't been there. It's been there less than 2 weeks.
So can I see if there's like, was it a group of things that moved along? Is there still anything left that gives me an idea of what did this?
This is most likely, and based on what you're seeing, one of the Dwendalian patrols trying to find a path through the swamp. They are known to use rafts because they're not quite as good moving through marsh or through wetlands as most people. Also, the fact that they're wearing armor kind of makes it more complicated, like heavier armor. So they tend to utilize rafts, and they also ran their boat into a thicket of trees, which to you, there's a certain amount of professional disdain for that. I mean, like, they got it caught in there. You still can't see any of the particulars because you haven't gone in there yet, but like, it's pretty amateur hour kind of stuff here.
Yeah, but I can't see if anything big and animal-like or something came and did that to them.
You cannot, based on what you're seeing, it doesn't look like anything large moved into that area to go after them.
So I'll share that information with the rest of them, with that kind of little sneer that says, they ran their raft into this grove. That patrol was very not professional.
So, probably not something we need to worry overly much about then.
Can we take the stuff?
I was just saying, unless we want the raft.
I mean, we do not know what did this. It doesn't look from here. I cannot see everything. That is, I don't think anything big animal-like did this, but we still don't know what killed them because they ran their raft into this mangrove, but that should not have killed them.
Well, we could get closer and check.
How close would I need to be to make a medicine check to see what killed them?
You need to get, based on that, you need to make your way into the grove of trees.
I'll come with you.
Okay. I'm going to go into the grove of trees and give myself guidance to make a medicine check on the corpse.
So you work your way in and you find this raft. It's kind of like tilted up a bit against one of the trees, and the body that you see is draped across it. You do see that it looks like, especially the part, one of its legs dipping down into the water is definitely getting along in terms of ripeness.
Yeah.
But it's clinging to like one hand is still clinging to a side of the raft and then seems to be locked into place. And you hold up your little glass shards of the Luxin and say a quick prayer as you check over this body.
Ooh. That's not good.
Can
Okay.
I assist in one of either with guidance?
Tom, could she assist?
I know. It's a bit
Sure,
late.
you lean over and you start examining the body with her. So go ahead and take advantage on that roll.
Yay!
Poke.
That's actually much better. So that's 19 with
19.
the advantage.
You looking across this body, it appears that it has several distinct bruisings around it, especially around the neck. It appears to have been constricted by something.
Oh.
And
guys, it was crushed, which I turn around and yell back to the party.
so as Ort turns around to yell this, let's see. Ooh. Hold on, let me open this up. Ooh, that's just a tie. So, Cavella, you feel something snake around your wrist, and then wrench backwards as you are going to take 6 points of damage. As you turn to see a vine has dropped down or has like emerged from the thicket and has wrapped itself around your wrist and is now just crushing it. You feel little bones in it popping. And the vines seem to condense into like a face looking like about a couple inches from you, just staring at you as it attempts to pull you into the vine thicket.
I found it!
So let's go ahead and roll initiative and throw your initiative number, your total number in the chat. Don't shout it out, just throw it in the chat because I forgot to set an initiative order before we started. But that was the surprise round for the creatures. And I will say that everybody is a reasonable move action away, so you can move into it and go right to work on whatever we're dealing with here.
Yeah. Can I see what attacked them?
You can see, you are familiar with these vine creatures. They are a pain when you encounter them, but they're not the most dangerous thing in the world. You know that correctly dealt with, they should be easily dispatched. It's just when you go directly into their lair and let them get the drop on you that they're a danger.
Yes.
Well, that's what the unprofessional patrol did then.
Yes, they definitely just went right in and got jumped.
We had archers and stuff like away so they can help, and we thought that through. Ish.
So up first, and I'm blanking even though I've heard you say her name like 4 times. How do we say your character's name again?
Zakari.
Zakari is up first, and you hear Kavalin shout, "I found him!"
And Zakari is going to draw her rapier and run over, and if she sees like the vine wrapped around Kavalin's wrist, she's gonna try and like cut the vine where it connects to free.
All right, so go ahead and roll an attack.
Okay. 14.
14 hits.
Okay. It's gonna be 11 damage.
11 points of damage?
Yes.
Excellent. So yeah, you come in and you just slice directly through this and it snaps, and you see Kavalin come free, and this thing, the expressionless vine face that is formed out of it turns, and just like there are no eyes, there's just like empty points in where the vines make eye sockets, and there are no eyes, seem to be looking directly at you now.
That's creepy.
And now, Ort.
Okay, so Kavalin, how hurt are you?
Fish.
I don't know what that means.
Like out of 13, I'm on a 7.
Oh, okay. So that's decently hurt.
Half-ish, yeah.
Sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and, because she was pretty close to me, so I'm going to go ahead and reach out and touch her and cast Cure Wounds. So do you want me to roll that or her?
You can roll that.
Ooh, max healing. So you get 13 hit points back.
That's as many as I have. Like, amazing. Well, you really can heal people.
Twice.
Okay, let's not let it get that far.
Okay.
The second time. Ow.
All right, Pebble. Oh, sorry, Laura. Did you have anything else you were going to do?
No, I think that was pretty much it.
All right, Pebble.
Okay, so how far away am I?
You are. What's your move distance?
My move distance, my walking speed is like, what, 30 feet?
Yeah, so we'll say you're about 30 feet off, but you're like on a slightly different angle than the rest of the party because you circled off. But you're 30 feet. You have a clear line of sight to shoot, or you could get in there if you wanted to get in there.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking that Pebble would pull out her 2 short swords and would wade in, trying to hit the points that she knows are the weakest, since she counted them before.
Okay.
2 short swords. Want me to roll twice then to see if I hit?
Yes.
Twice. It's like I'm so not. All right, so. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's 5, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that is 8 and 19.
The 19 hits.
19 hits. All right, and then it is 1d6 plus 3, which is a 4 plus 3. That's 7.
7 damage.
Yes.
So you lop off one of this thing's, like the arm comes completely off. You see the vine starting to reform an arm, but it's only it's happening very slowly, and it seems to be drawing away like other parts of itself. So it's getting rather frail looking, and it looks to be fairly hurt. Now moving over to, and that was your action and bonus action, right? Because of your 2 weapon fighting.
Yes.
All right. So then next up will be Greta.
Okay, she will kind of hear the shouts and the din of battle. She'll kind of come up into the mangrove swamp, kind of look around, see everyone seems to be fighting this thing. So she will raise up her like a bejeweled hand, kind of trace a circle in the air, and grasp something. And suddenly, it seems like her fist is in the middle of this whirling ball of shadowy chaos. She just lobs it at the plant creature. She's going to cast Chaos Bolt.
Ooh. All right, so that's an attack roll on your end, right?
It is. It is a 22 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay.
So what kind of damage are you doing?
So that's a good question. I have to roll first.
Yep.
So the way the spell works, it's 2d8 plus 1d6, and I have to pick one of the d8s to see what the damage type is. Okay, so that is 2, 5. That's cold or lightning. Let's go with cold damage.
So
that's 7 plus. Oh, actually. Oh yeah. 7 plus 5. So that's 12 points of cold damage.
12 points. So Cavelin's just sitting there with this thing. You have someone jump in, chop off the thing holding you. Its arm gets sliced off by Pebble leaping in, and then suddenly a bolt of energy hits it, and it just freezes up into ice, and then just slowly starts to crumble and shatter, and it's gone. However, now staying in initiative, right before Cavelin's turn is the creature's turn, because there's another one, and it is going to successfully. Oh, hold on. Let me double check the armor class here. Yes, successfully by 1. Grentha, you have held out your hand casting, and you see a extension of vines clamp down on your arm and start to wrench it back, and you feel something in your shoulder pop as you take, ouch, you take 10 points of damage. I think that puts you unconscious.
It does. She only has 8 of those suckers.
Yeah, so your arm wrenches back and your shoulder dislocates. There's a huge wave of pain and you black out as this thing is now dragging you into the bush. So now Kvelin, this thing in
I
front
think-
of you just shattered, and you hear just a slight and you see a massive orc shape being dragged into a bush.
I turn around to Ort and go, I think we might need that second one again, and then run in with my sword. And I think because Gretna has fallen, I'm gonna just put the shield away. So -2 armor class when you see on my character sheet. And I'm just going to double hand the longsword, so that's a d10 damage.
All right.
Free Gretna. That's a new characters. 17 to hit.
17 definitely hits.
Sweet. Ooh, max damage 10. 13 damage.
13 damage. You come in and you like two-handed overhand cut, contact it where the collarbone would be, and you go down into its abdomen, just pieces of twigs and vines falling everywhere into the swamp. And the wound closes up as you go through. But again, you see it pulling away, including it pulls away some of the vines holding Grentha. It releases Grentha, and Grentha now just flops down into the happily not water. You guys were on dry land, so onto the mud. So Grentha, you are not drowning.
Yay!
But now Grentha is on the ground, being left alone as this thing, again, eyeless sockets turn towards the drow that just attacked it. And we are back at the top of the order with Zakari.
Okay. Is the one still wrapped around Grentha?
It is dropped Grentha, but it is still standing over Grentha's unconscious body and is squaring off with Kvelin.
I want to try and just slice at the face in the vines.
All right.
Because it's creepy and I want it to go away. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits.
5.
5 hit points?
No, 5 damage.
Oh, 5 damage. So you
'Cause
come in and you
that's a one.
slash, and you do you cut away the top part of it and it falls away. It stays upright, but it does not have any much more to replace this with. So the face does not reform, and you're dealing with now a headless vine body that is appearing to start to withdraw a bit into the bush.
I don't know if that's less creepy or not.
Do you have anything you can spend your bonus action with?
I don't actually.
Yeah, it's level
nothing.
1.
Yeah.
Ort.
Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna run over to Grentha. Can I make it in my move?
You can.
Okay. So I'm gonna run over and cast Cure Wounds again.
So you come over, you again take out this piece and you lay hands on it. How much do you do?
That's the second max healing on Cure Wounds. So another 13 hit points.
13
Right,
hit points.
and you're not even a grave cleric.
I know. And then I go, nobody else die. I'm out of healing.
You watch Grentha's arm move back into place. The eyes flick open, and your shoulder, there's an initial pain that you remember feeling in your shoulder, and it is completely gone now, as you now feel like a nice gentle warmth spreading throughout your body, emanating from Ort's hand.
Hi, Luxon. Fight now.
And Ort, do you have anything that you want to do with the rest of your bonus action?
Nobody else die. And then I have a little bit of space, so I can use, because I'm a goblin, I can actually dash as my bonus action.
It's true.
Okay.
So I'm gonna move, because if Grentha was by the thing, I'm gonna move away from the thing with my.
And we'll assume that you stood on the other end of Grentha, so you didn't.
Right, so I
enter
wasn't
there.
directly next to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now up is Pebble.
Yeah, Pebble is gonna try again in with her 2 short swords and just try and cut the thing apart. All right, and that is 17 and an 11.
The 17 hits.
That is 8 damage.
8 damage. So as Grentha comes back and Pebbles steps over Grentha, as Grentha's like coming back to consciousness, you see just an Earth Genasi just kind of like just minding not to step on you, but steps over you and drives a short sword up into the center of this thing and then just makes like a quick drawing motion to cut it cleanly in half and just kind of like knocks the top half off of it. And you see the vines start to fall apart. And we are now out of initiative. But you guys do see many more vines in this thicket starting to move and come down towards the ground.
Time to back it up.
Yes. Run.
Is there anything shiny that is very obvious that we can grab on the way out?
There is what appears to be a shield next to the soldier, like kind of half in the mud.
Right. So while on the way out, Pebble is going to grab that and toss that to Cavellin once we're away from the thicket.
Cavellin will probably turn around and get smacked in the face. She wasn't expecting it.
More than likely.
Ow! Thanks.
The clong of metal hitting face rings out.
I thought this would be better than what you have.
It looks like it.
Tell us, what shield is it?
I don't know.
I'm talking to the voice in the sky. Don't you know?
Oh, it's a,
Hear a voice in the sky?
Shh. It's talking back.
The shield is a normal shield, but it is a metal shield with a Gwendalian symbol on the front of it. Inside it, though, you do find, apparently this is where he kept some of his coins in like a tucked away little spot. You find 15 silver pieces tucked away in it. Soldiers like to hide money in all sorts of different weird places. Don't carry it just on your belt. So he tucked away 15 silver pieces like in a little hidden part of the handle that you find after I'm assuming you're gonna fiddle with it over the course of the journey.
Yeah. Ooh, money. And I'm gonna hand everyone 3 because.
Oh, thank you.
Also, are you also using shield basically, Ort?
I am, but I don't like the one with the window. I got the wood thing. It's cool.
All right. Okay, do you think we can put glass over that weird symbol? It's not exactly Feynman glory, and it's like the enemy. It's like the bad guys, right?
Yeah, it would take a little bit, but we could totally put something over that.
You get some glue and some glitter, and that should be fine.
Let's stretch some hide over it.
I put some mud on the shield as well and dirty it up.
I could find you some, maybe the brown like here, or like a grayish like here, and she kind of points to all these little furs on her hide.
Just the one with a gray tail. That's
the
really
one with
cool.
the gray. Well, we will look out for that while we move along. Maybe we can pretty it up some. It is kind of ugly,
but it's good quality, I think.
Absolutely, it's going to help.
It is a very high quality metal. Like this is actually really well made. It's a little tarnished, the side that was in the water, but nothing that won't polish out.
Yeah, like I said, I'm making it worse to try and cover up the symbol. So
don't want anything that shines, right?
No.
So you guys make your way, and you are now you find your way away from the brambles as it becomes rather like the motion and the sound of just twigs and leaves rustling continue for several minutes after you guys back away, and then it goes back to being still and silent in that region as you guys move away, and the vine blights await more prey to come walking into their grove. It is still only several hours into it's about midday now into your journey, and you guys can continue onward into the Broken Vale Marsh. After another hour or so, you do come across. You've been moving on fairly high, dry ground for large portions of this, as Pebble has been able to pick your route rather carefully. You now come to a very large expanse of tall grass and what you know to be soft ground, wet ground, if not standing water. and it is going to take far more skill to pick your way through this. So I'm going to ask for a survival check from a member of the party to make your way through this rather difficult terrain.
Could
I'll
I
give guidance.
assist?
I will say yes. If someone is if someone else is trained in survival, you can.
I
like,
am.
assist. Yeah, so you can assist. And you're also a denizen of you've made your way through these marshes. So
Yeah.
yep. So yeah, I'm assuming you're having Pebble make the roll then.
Yeah.
So you're going to get advantage and also blessings of the Luxon upon you. You get D4 with both rolls.
Anybody rolling anything, guidance is a cantrip. Like, make sure you're getting guidance.
All right. Oh, that is a natural 20.
Oh, very nice.
And a 4. How did I do that?
All right.
What's honest with you?
Which is now plus the 3 in survival is 27.
27. Yeah.
What the heck?
I think that clears it.
Like I don't think I ever rolled that good before.
That I mean, like that's you roll that on the first one advantage. Like that's it. I don't need to roll again. Together, Pebble and Zakirin are not Zakirin. Zakari, I'm sorry. Are able to pick it is not a clean path through this area, but it is winding, it is circuitous, but it is nobody sinks into the mud, nobody gets stuck, no one loses any shoes. It takes hours, but you make it through to a kind of like a lonesome patch of dry land just as night is beginning to fall.
Should we maybe make camp at some point? I'm getting a bit tired.
Yeah, I guess Pebble can keep an eye out for a safe enough spot to make camp for a long rest.
I like this spot. What's wrong with this spot? Or it's already pulling out her bedroll.
This spot appears to be
spot.
Yeah. This spot appears to be as good as it's going to get, at least in the immediate area.
You're right. So Pebble is kind of going to walk the perimeter and make sure everything is all right and everything's safe, and getting the lay of the land so that she knows from which way stuff might come.
Should we do a watch? People always do a watch in stories.
Considering what we just ran from, that would probably be wise.
Yep.
Rather than have my arm ripped off again.
No, we have healing.
Not until
That's true,
take a nap.
Thank you very much for the healing, Ort.
Of course. That's what I do.
Ort's real good at it. She's helped me a time or two. Dozen.
But now I need a nap because that was it.
Fair.
I can watch. I don't do magic.
Also, I believe Drow have the elf short.
Yeah, I have the 4 hours thingy.
Yeah. That's always nice to have a full elf in the party. Just be like, yeah, I kind of sleep, sort of.
Maybe.
So you're going to be taking first watch while everybody goes down for... Are you going to be taking all night and then doing your 4 hours once they're up?
I'll take a watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do an hour at the end. I just like to get the full rest before mine.
Okay. So we'll do like a 3-person watch and yeah.
Yep.
So...
Pebble likes taking the one right in the middle because everything's so nice and quiet and she can listen to the night animals since she just loves the swamp. She just loves it. This is her favorite and she doesn't like to be interrupted. She's not even looking at Kevelen right now. And the way that she will show her appreciation to nature.
What was that animal sound? That was a cricket, wasn't it?
Exactly that is not what she wants tonight. We'll do that again tomorrow.
Okay.
You see, Grantha doesn't even bother, like, she doesn't have like a blanket. She literally just picks a tree and just kind of leans against it.
So, Kvelin, night falls, and it is just you up now, as everyone else appeared to be asleep. And the night is alive with insect noises. There's like a wall of noise. You do not understand how anybody is sleeping through this. And because of that, it's going to be rather difficult, but make a perception check.
That's a 13, not a 3, so I stand a chance. No, I don't. 14.
14? There's the insect noise is hard to cut through as it is just overwhelming, though you do hear the croaking of frogs break through also. But that's about it. And the rest of your watch passes peacefully. Eventually the insect noise dies down a bit, especially once the sun goes fully down and it starts getting into deeper night. It starts getting a little quieter. Though the frogs just keep persisting. They're still at it. And it comes time to switch watches. So who is the second watch?
I can take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I will take the deepest night watch.
Sounds good.
So we had a fox pass by like an hour ago, and then there's that weird is starting, and I'm not sure what it is, but it's loud and it's everywhere. And then the fox came back, but now it has something in its mouth. And then there was a weird bat thing fluttering around, and more and that's it.
Sounds like you did good.
Thanks.
Get some sleep.
I'm not really tired yet.
Twelve.
12. Well, you also pick up on some frogs off in the distance. You catch glimpse of maybe a fox. You're not quite sure. But other than that, it's a pretty peaceful, like even the insects are starting to quiet down. It's getting into deep night. Dark even by Zorha standards. And now we're entering into, like, it's now well past midnight when it is time to switch off your watch.
Witching hour.
I'll go gently wake up Vivi or Pebble, sorry. Like, and then like, animals are, being animals, but seems all right.
All right. Thank you for waking me up. And Pebble find herself a good spot and kind of sits down comfortably, crisscross applesauce, to use the better term, and settles in for her watch.
Only a perception check.
That is a 16.
16. You too hear the frogs, but
Can I tell what kind of frogs there are?
they're loud. They're quite loud.
Do I normally hear them before?
You recognize the calls of bullywugs, a frog people that live in the swamp who don't really take kindly to the goblins coming in. You've had some contact with them before. They are deeply territorial and feel a strong sense of possession over the swamp. Communication with them is very hard as they don't speak any like serious language, and they're rather hostile to those that they encounter that aren't their own kind.
Can I tell what direction, how far, how many?
The noise seems to be coming off to the northeast. Generally in the direction that you guys came from, though a little further north than your path.
And it doesn't seem like they're coming closer.
As you listen, it sounds as if it's two groups that are using their rather loud croaking to do like kind of a over distance communication. It sounds like one of them is potentially closer to you than the other.
So if in my ranger mind I visualize where they are, how long would it take them to get to us if they were coming for us? Just, spitballing.
It would take a couple of hours. It sounds like, basing on the noise, that maybe the closer ones are a little under a mile away from you.
Would I know where their territory, since I've been in the marsh for a while, would I know where their territories or what territories they claim?
They consider the entire marsh to be their territory. You know that they tend to make a bit more. When you cut your path, you were trying to avoid the northern reaches of this area, as they tend to think that that's their territory. Like, that's where they cluster. So you guys have been cutting a southwestern path. If you guys have been heading straight west out of the if you guys were heading straight west out of the village, you would have eventually encountered like their strongholds. But you're a decent amount south of that area. You were hoping you were going to like miss them.
Right. So for the next quarter hour, I want to kind of monitor that and see when it would be time to wake up my companions to move on, because I do want them to get as much rest as we can before we have to move along.
So towards the end of your watch, the croaking pitters off and stops. And it goes quiet, and it's actually fairly quiet in the swamp for like the last hour of your watch.
So they're getting closer because everything's shutting up. So I'm going to quietly wake up my companions. Shh. All right. We need to move along quietly before the frog people who claim that all of this is them. Whatever. We need to move. And then she's like, yes, I know that they don't know. We need to go. And quietly. Keep the clinking down, and I will answer questions later.
You all get a long rest. It was just at the end of...
Have we gotten a long rest?
Yeah, it was just at the end of her watch. She would be the only one that wouldn't have
gotten a long rest.
Benefited, but you're also like, you don't have any spell slots. So
I didn't use my pass without trace, so
yeah.
I'm good.
So you guys are going to try to break camp quietly and slip off into the swamp in the pre-hours of dawn?
Yes, try to avoid them.
So let's go ahead and roll just a group stealth check. So I want to set the DC at 12 and tell me who beats that.
I would like to guide myself.
Go ahead and guide yourself.
Because I have disadvantage in my clinky scale armor.
I also have disadvantage in my clinky chainmail armor. So Cavelin is like, okay, quiet. Clunk.
Since I do have that natural explorer and it's my favorite thing, here it says you can move stealthily at a normal pace, but only if I'm alone. Dang it. Yeah. Dang it. All right.
Grentha rolled the natural 20.
Nice.
So 23.
18.
18. All right, so we have 3 out of 5 successes. Oh no, 4 out of 5 successes. So yeah, and Grentha just like is leaning against this tree, and you say this, and like just straight up like Homer Simpson's back into the bush and just disappears. You guys are able to quietly pack up your camp with only a few kind of notable noises, most of them coming from Cavelin, like putting on her armor, getting ready to head out, and I would say it would be Cavelin is getting ready to about to pour some water over the campfire when Grentha puts a hand on it and just shakes the head and you guys leave the campfire burning and make your way down into the swamp a bit early for the day, but you are able to set out on your journey.
Yeah, she just kind of goes,
The campfire will deceive them.
Okay. Who's them? What's a bullywog?
Frog people.
And how did we end up with the only dorky drow in the world? I love it.
Listen,
there's also
level
Aztec.
1 characters.
They're the best, aren't they?
We have no idea what we're doing.
Some of us just pretend that we do. It's all a lie. Well, you don't know that.
I don't, because I have no insight at level 1.
Exactly. So I totally could have killed dozens of people.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Like, I believe it. Clearly, you have the scars to prove it.
Very, very much so.
So how, in terms of like, are you guys getting out of there fast, or are you guys kind of moving slowly and stealthily right now?
Well, I'm going to try and lead them slowly and kind of stealthily away because we don't want to get their attention.
Mm-hmm. So you guys move for about like, it was going to be like 2 hours before dawn. And right as dawn starts to break, you guys have made a decent amount of ground in between you and your campsite. And you start hearing loud croaking noises coming from back where your camp was right around dawn. So you guys all kind of stop as it's very noticeable, the croaking, especially just as the swamps or the marsh is starting to come to life in the morning.
Looks like they found the fire. Does not sound like they appreciated it. We were so nice to leave it for them.
Yeah, old orcish tactic.
I don't like not being appreciated. Let's move along.
So you guys make your way through the marsh, and off in the distance, you see, where is it? So far off in the distance, like this is an appreciable way, you see a structure above the swamp. It's still hard to make out what it is. It's a little bit hazy, as it is like, that overcast, not quite light, but it appears to be a tower. It's hard to make out details because it is still quite a ways away, and you're only peeking it in between a few like trees because you're still moving through some of the more wooded areas. Now, so the people from this would know that there is in the center of the swamp, there is a crumbling tower that is approximately the halfway point between where you got from the edge of the swamp where you guys were starting and Fort Venture. So you were seeing that probably a full day's walk away from you at this point. Moving forward, you guys do see in a much closer rising out of the marsh in kind of like a dip down into a lower patch in about, like, judging by the ground, like an hour walk away, a large field of bones. Some large rib cages sticking out of the ground, the shells of horizon-back turtles, 3 of them, empty in there, and it's got just a very Lion King elephant graveyard feel to it.
Rather just go,
It feels like home.
That's terrifying.
It appears to be, looking at it, it appears to be the easiest path through this particular path of marsh.
Yeah. Pebble seems to be very reverent of the tortoises. Can't even say that right, but so she will probably very reverently and slowly pick her way through. You can just sometimes hear her just mumbling and touching the shells and saying, "You are brave. You are a beautiful one, a wise one," and just tell everybody to be just like, "Shh, remember, this is a sacred place. Please show the proper respect."
Cavellin will stealthily drop a bone she was picking up and about to put in her pocket.
I was gonna say, yeah, as she says that, or totally not so stealthily picks up a little piece that she's trying to figure out if it could fit into like the wall back home for like the Luxon symbol she's making, and like, oh, she's gonna put it in her bag anyway. It was a good piece. It was just the right shape.
So
Pebble probably doesn't see that. She's too preoccupied with, her reverence to the tortoises, the wise ones, slow wise ones.
So this bone field's quite large. You guys are making your way through it. Towards the center of it is one of the larger rib cages that is like totally, again, like it's straight up Lion King. Like it's two sides of it, and it is large enough to pass through. And as you guys are approaching it, and Pebble, I'm assuming you're taking the lead, you're like running a hand along one of the horizon back tortoise shells. You hear someone speaking.
So I'm guessing my head will perk up and just kind of try to figure out where it comes from. And
It's coming from up ahead.
I hear someone talking. Shh.
Who are you shushing? No one was talking.
Uh-huh. Like right now? Mm-hmm.
Well, no, now I'm talking because you were shushing us.
Shh. Shh. She's just like this little grumbling. I know they don't know. So she's gonna try and stealthily get a little closer until she can hear who's talking and if she can understand what they're saying.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Which one of these has given me the most tonight? Oh, that is 19 plus 3. That's a 22.
22, very nice. You see 4 figures, 3 of them kneeling, heads bowed, and another moving amongst them. They are all covered in scales, elongated faces, mouths full of teeth, spines running along. Well, spines running along their spine, running along their backs. These are lizard folk, and they're speaking in their hissing, growling language. Does anybody hear, or do you speak Draconic by any chance?
No, common, deep speech, primordial, and undercommon.
So you can't understand what they're saying, but the one who is standing is like covered in bone ornaments that you can tell have been taken from this area, and he appears to be, while the others have their heads bowed, it looks like there's some sort of ceremony taking place, and he is bestowing a bone around, like putting it on as an accoutrement to one of the kneeling lizardmen.
Yeah, Pebble doesn't like that at all. Now, can I make an Arcana check and check if I know what kind of ritual they're doing?
You can. Let's make it a religion check.
You're killing me. All right.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
You want guidance?
You. I'm assuming she's
far ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That is 16.
16.
16 plus 2.
2.
So it's 18 total.
18. That's pretty good. This appears to be some sort of religious
dice
ceremony. It appears to be you recognize the lizard person who's doing it as a shaman, though this doesn't fit with many of the rituals you've seen, because you've been around in the swamp for a little bit. You've gotten to know some of the lizard folk clans and tribes that move through it. This is different. The carvings on the bone aren't right. The way they're carrying themselves aren't right. And there's something distinctly wrong with it.
Right. So Pebble will absolutely not like that. She really reversed the animals, and the tortoises. They're the wise, slow ones to her. She's kind of slow too, so she has an extra reason to like them. So I'm thinking she's kind of getting pissed off. She's gonna back up a little and kind of say, "Hey, Grantha, they're having a ritual there. Can you see what they're doing? It seems wrong. There's something that they're doing with the wise one's bones that I do not like." My Grantha?
I could check.
That would be very much appreciated before I go in and smash in their heads.
Do you want me to be sneaky or diplomatic?
Let's start with sneaky.
As you wish. So kind of, considering the size of the Reisenbach tortoise shells, I don't know if she could kind of double back and kind of try to get a different angle on these lizard folk.
Okay. So you're moving into a different position?
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
Okay. That's not nearly as good. 5.
So as Grantha starts to move, there is a patch of bones that you trip through, and there's a large clattering. And Pebble, you see the heads in the way that really only reptiles can, that quick whip turn and presenting the side of their face so the one eye can traverse back and forth. They don't immediately see Grantha, as Grantha is not in their line of vision. But they are now appear to be on alert. And when they turn, Pebble, you see some of the bones around that they're wearing move, and you actually notice that not all of them are from this boneyard. Some of them share the distinct shape of lizard folk and other humanoids.
Yeah. Pebble it takes a while to get her mad, but she's mad. They are taking bones from the wise ones. They're taking bones from their kinfolk. They're taking bones from the humans. And she does not like it when people are being victimized. So yeah, she's gonna over her shoulder, this has to end. We'll have to put a stop to it. And she, pulls out her longbow, and she's gonna try and shoot the main dude straight in the face.
All right, roll me an attack with advantage because you're catching them by surprise. They're on alert, but they don't see you. This is coming out of nowhere.
All right. Let's make sure that's the right one.
Kevellin will just leaning into Orton and say, she's so intense when she's giving orders and being careful. Oh God, she's shooting someone.
Oh God, what's she doing?
So that's a 15. 15, does that hit?
15 does hit. So
all right, that is
before you roll damage, we're going to go with you in just a building rage from Pebble as you see them covered in bones of these things you revere. And Kevellin is just looking so intense as she pulls an arrow, draws her bow, sights it, and releases. And the arrow flies towards this. And we're going to pause here for the night as we only have about 10 minutes left. So we will open next session with Pebble rolling damage on this hit and then initiating combat with these lizard folk. So we are now well and deep into the swamp. Thank you guys for that outstanding game. Let's really quickly go around, remind everyone who we are and where we can be found, starting with Lydia. Lydia, where can we find you, and what are you doing on Wednesdays?
I live on the internet now, so that's where you can find me under Half-Arsed Hermit on Twitter and Discord. And I don't know, what are we doing on Wednesday, dear Thomas? Could it be that we're playing the Guards ! Game on Encounter Roleplay? I think
I kind of want Kavalen to be in the guards now. Kavalen would fit perfectly into our guard group.
Oh god, yeah. I completely had her not planned like this, but it turned out to be so fish out of water. I'm like, okay, I'm going with this now. Like, she does not know what she's doing, like, ever. So yeah, level 1. I love it. It's been so long that I started on level 1. But yeah, the Guards game is a Terry Pratchett inspired, Scottish history inspired D&D 5e game. Also mini series like this one, so 4 sessions. We had a premiere this Wednesday and it was hilarious. So Tom's playing in that. That's why he's so subtly hinting at it. And he's playing a shepherd, a cleric of Belenus, the Lightbringer, and is trying to keep the party in line, I guess, or at least one guy who always just is a little bit shifty.
He just needs a little push in the right direction.
A little push in the right direction. A little bit of threatening with a special help.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. I'm sending them to the graveyard, spoiler, and join in if you want to tune in on Encounter Roleplay on Twitch. We also do Meat Grinders, which are monthly charity games, which is coming up again, and the deadline to sign up for that is actually in, I think, 2 days. And
the 19th.
Yeah, 19th. So if you want to help with the Rain charity, you can totally do that. We do it every month and people can come and play. There's like 15 players and it's like a gauntlet. We of course also have other seasons coming up, so if you want to join the castings there, hop on in. The castings are open still for some of the shows, and that's me.
Excellent. Laura.
Okay, mine is a much smaller spiel than that. So I'm Laura, and you can find me in Discord as Laura G on the Encounter Roleplay and the Master of the Game Discord. On Wednesday evenings, I am playing here on Master of the Game in the Forgotten Thrones campaign. And you could follow me on Instagram at ShinyMathRocks, with an underscore between each word, as I attempt to learn to make dice and not screw it up too bad.
Excellent. And Chai.
Hi, I'm Chai. You can find me at Girly Chai on Twitter. I lurk in a few places and I've kind of guested on a few things here and there, which is fun. I'm hoping to eventually get into, some more ongoing streams, but we'll see how it goes. I sometimes play on Roll the Roll on Twitch. Tonight they started a brand new Starfinder game. So, which I'm gonna pop into after this is done. If you want to go check that out, they're pretty cool people. And yeah, that's about it.
Outstanding. Yeah, and you guys are playing Starfinder?
Yeah, I actually almost was playing that game instead because one of the players was like, last minute, I might have to drop. And they're like, can you jump in? And I'm like, I don't know this game, but sure. But it worked out that he was able to actually continue playing. So yeah, they just started it tonight. It was their first episode. They're playing the new against the Aeon Throne module. So that's pretty cool.
That's one of the systems I've always been interested in but never played. So
yeah, I haven't played much, but I definitely want to try new systems.
Yeah, new systems are always fun to try. Steven, I almost called you Grantha. I almost
I kind of lurk in a couple different channels on Discord. Mimics and Monstrosities, Counter Roleplay, Master of the Game, a few others. I also play Sephron von Brandt over on the Descent into Avernus game on Mimics and Monstrosities, where I mostly hurl acid at demons while speaking in a German accent that will most likely make any actual German speakers want to strangle me over the...
Uh-oh. Did you just freeze?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. So, were you were you done or were you stopping because of the freeze?
I'm done.
Vivi, are you on any active games right now?
Yes, actually on Tuesday on Twitch, I'm going to be on Uncanny Adventures, where we're playing our Call of Cthulhu in the Wild West game. And I'll play playing the Doctor. And we are now getting into the actual Cthulhu part of it, where things are getting a little crazy. And we did have some zombies. So that's very interesting. Else, you can find me as Vivacia on Twitch. I do variety streams and have done a bunch of one shots. You know, I'm still looking for exactly the one where my craziness fits in. Plus, there's munchkins here, so it can only be at certain times. So if you want this crazy voice, you know, and this crazy face on something else, hit me up. Maybe on the Twitter where I'm Miss Vivacia. And yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I really, really had a lot of fun. It is very interesting to play something that is so completely against my own personality because I am so blah, 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 blah. And Pebble is so absolutely not that.
So it's always fun to play like totally against type sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and first of all, before I thank you all for playing, this was outstanding. We will be back here again next Friday, continuing on, picking up with the arrow striking this poor, horrible shaman. I am Tom. You can find me at TP_Grant on Twitter. I play 2 games on Wednesdays now. I play in Lydia's Guards campaign in the afternoon, and then in the evening, I jump over to this channel and I play on Forgotten Throne with Laura and Juice. We will be playing next Friday, but the Friday after that, May 1st, we'll have to figure out. I don't think we're going to be able to do that because I think I'm going to be over on Counter Roleplay DMing a Zweihander Dark Astral one-shot. Terrifying. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come over, and if you want to see that, it is Zweihander's adaptation of their own system into a kind of horror, dark fantasy sci-fi. So it's like Dune mashed with Warhammer 40K mashed with Firefly. It's a really cool looking system, and we're going to give it a whirl. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
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 Bye.